Good now. Guns, or guns. Not really, but guns. Nice. Nice. Oh, was that what you were doing?
Yeah, have you never done that? Just shove that fat up to the top of the arm. Boom! Look at that bicep.
Oh, man. Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big ugly himself, Omari Ellis, Feo Grande on YouTube, back for some more movie talk, and back again with this guy hasn't seen, and once again, I am joined, as always, by one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey! Thank you, Omari. Thank you. Hello, Omaricans. Hello, Omari. It is so good to be back. Thank you again for having me.
Yes, sir. And like I said before, this guy hasn't seen, where we trade back and forth movies or other forms of pop culture one the other has not experienced. And this week we are covering a movie that I haven't seen, and that movie, what movie is that, Bill?
Con Air. It is Con Air. It's 1997's Con Air. Newly paroled ex-con and former U.S. Ranger Cameron Poe finds himself trapped in a prisoner transport plane when the passengers seize control.
That's right. That is, oh my goodness. That's the whole movie, just hit the bunny out of the box. Or put the bunny in the box.
I told you, you should have put the bunny in the box.
Why didn't you put the bunny in the box?
Why didn't you put the bunny in the box?
Yes, that's right. Nick Cage's Con Air.
Right. This is directed by Simon West, written by Scott Rosenberg, and it stars the Nicolas Cage, supporting with John Cusack and John Malkovich.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah,
I picked this movie because it's ridiculous.
Yes, I was like, yeah, there it is. You picked a movie because it's ridiculous, and
right.
You just wanted to.
So, I don't know. I haven't seen the cut yet, but not sure if this was on camera or not. But last week in our conversation, I explained my 4-tier scale. Oh. And it basically breaks almost every single movie down into 4 tiers. And that is good, which means you can recognize that the movie was made very well, and you can say it's a good movie, and you enjoyed watching it. Good, bad, where you can still recognize that the first thing of it's a good movie and it's well crafted, but you did not have a good time. There's bad, good, which, wow, that's a shit film, but boy, did I have a fun time. And then there's bad. I was attempting to hit that third slot right there. This movie is ridiculous. Nicolas Cage is ridiculous. John Malkovich is ridiculous and incredible. And I wanted to throw it out there. I feel like it's as a child of the 90s, it is a black hole in your library, sir, and I wanted to fill your hole.
Anyway, yeah, so I hadn't seen this movie for the same reason I hadn't seen the others that we've talked about in this similar genre. Just, oh, hey, That's that film everybody talks about. I should watch that. Oh, here's literally anything else. And I just get distracted easily away from seeing it. Always on the to-do list because, classic in whatever regard you want to call it. Classic film with Nick Cage.
Classic for Omar.
I just hear, Con Air. Everybody's seen Con Air. It's got the thing with the bunny. I had heard about the bunny.
GIF.
Yeah.
The GIFs.
Yeah.
There's like multiple GIFs in this movie that if you haven't received the Nick Cage wink GIF in your life, you're not living a proper 2022 life as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so yes, it's obviously been around in pop culture. You hear about these things. So on the to-do list, just never got around to seeing it. So got the opportunity, yes, finally watched this movie. In all the glory that I had heard of it, but I'd also heard some things that, some people were like, Con Air, is that really that good a movie? Blah, blah, blah type stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I've always heard good things. So mainly when I was just expecting Nick Cage insanity, and especially with this being a response to, and you saying last week you were trying to hit that third tier of bad good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Good,
bad,
good, bad, bad, good, bad.
Yes. Yes. That.
All movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're welcome, Omarikins. Take that home. Use it.
Because you were, but yes, because you were aiming for that kind of set my expectations of right where it needed to be for the movie. Just fun action film. Let's see Nick Cage do Nick Cage things.
Yep. And he gets pretty Nick Cagey at parts.
Yes.
I mean, the accent is a choice by him. He came in with that and was like, this is what I'm doing, guys. And nobody's going to tell Nick Cage no. You're not going to do that.
Fucking accent. That was talk about initial reactions. Just hearing him, just like, okay, Nick. just the accent. I'm like, like you said, it had to have been like a choice by him to be like, this is how my character talks.
It absolutely has to be. It absolutely has to be. There is a story. There's a story out there that Seth Rogen has told about him and his movie producing partner meeting Nick Cage as they were initially trying to get him to be the villain in their Green Hornet movie before they got the dude from Inglourious Bastards. And they met with him, and he started the meeting that he wanted to play the character with dreadlocks and a Jamaican patois. And then he was like super weird for 30 minutes and left abruptly with them in his own house. He just left. This is, I believe, how the story is described.
That's fantastic. Did the Nick Cage, the Nick Cage movie come out yet? The
that is out.
Weight of Massive Talent. I'm like, yeah, that seems like a movie about Nick Cage and exactly what that would be titled. But yes, Nick Cage is awesome. But yeah, just getting into the movie. Obviously, if you're not familiar with the premise, and I was familiar with the premise, like some convicts take over an airplane.
Right.
Con Air.
Simple premise. And then you have our main character, who's Nick Cage, who is a former Army Ranger who has a altercation at a bar with some creeps one night after he's picking up his wife from said bar that she works at. And through that process of that bar fight, he kills a man. And
we drew a knife on him.
Right. but the knife is gone and the buddies who live are gone. And so we get a very, very quick montage of court proceedings where they describe him as a deadly weapon who has received superior training and should be held at a higher accountability. And thus, they send him to prison for years. For years. This little girl grows up to go to kindergarten before he is out of there. So we're talking 6?
Yeah, I think they sentenced him to like 7 to 10 years, and they let him out after like 6 with parole.
Because we then follow a very brief, quick montage of his hair growing and him staying in his cell.
Just like working out
and reading, learning Spanish.
Yeah, that's right. That makes even more sense that they had that thing on the plane where the two dudes was talking in Spanish to one another. It's like, well, if you're paying attention, he was learning Spanish earlier, so he hears it too.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
So that was cool.
So as it started breaking down, initial reactions. What's going on in your brain?
So you mentioned the intro, like the classic, just is here it is, here's our story beats and stuff like that. I had no idea that he was former military. I didn't remember why he was, or I didn't know rather, why he was arrested in the first place to be a convict, but I'm like, this is some old bullshit with this guy. But you see some cliches early on, including the asshole at the bar. Just, he was the most stereotypical, that kind of character. Hey, I want to go, what you gonna do about it? You want to fight? And then later, hey, we want to fight you. That motherfucker is like, all right, okay. So some of the cliches was real, but Nick Cage's voice when he just starts talking, and he's got that accent, and I don't know, like, you get used to it as it goes on, kinda, but it's a thing.
It's a thing. It is certainly a thing.
But it also helps add, like, when you say this being bad good, it adds that little extra bit of charm to the movie, where it's just, it's its own. Like, it's silly.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
They had the goddamn, they're like, oh yes, we're gonna have the most notorious criminals ever going from here to here to here, the people you don't want to know about, blah 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 blah. I'm like, so the most notorious ever, just going to on the same plan. This sounds like a great idea in general. Can't backfire at all.
Won't backfire at all.
And not at all. No one to be armed on the plane. I guess that makes sense. At the same time, dude goes ahead and sneaks the gun into dude's like sock. I'm like, and that's gonna ruin everything. Like, that's gonna make everything so much worse somehow that they did that. I thought that would be where they get their first gun to like attack or whatever, but then once they did, it was like crazy. I liked the little montage of the little backgrounds on each of the criminals.
Yeah, that's a really cool. It's a pretty cool introduction scene. Yeah. As they're all coming out of the buses, and we get like the security cam close up, and then it turns into the graphic.
Yeah, I'm like, this Diamond Dog dude looks like a fucking problem.
And John Cusack is being super John Cusack, but it's good. Like, I don't dislike him in it.
No, not at all.
He's doing a great job as like our narrator of that scene, while simultaneously giving it to the guy that we are being ham-fistedly told we are not supposed to like this guy.
Yeah, it's just like
the DEA agent.
Yeah, the DEA agent. Him just like, oh my god.
Parks in a handicap spot. Like within the first 30 seconds we've met the guy. That's when you know, like, all right, this screenwriter does not want you to like this person.
and you don't. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this dude is so obnoxious and just, yeah, you're not supposed to like him. Then you get this Cyrus the Virus dude. I'm like, okay, so so I just said Diamond Dog looks like a problem, but this guy literally just look at all this stuff. I'm like, oh no, I really don't trust him.
Our entrance of him before we even see John Malkovich's face is John Cusack saying something like, "And this one's done it all, folks. We've got counts of murder, racketeering, extortion, theft, assault, battery, terrorism, like
everything."
Yeah, all crimes. Is something like he's been an adult for 24 years and he's been in our institutions for 22 of them. But also, while he's been in prison, he's received 2 doctorates. So. Yes.
He bettered himself in prison. Like, he got 2 degrees, including his doctorates and this and that. I'm like,
yeah, I think John Malkovich. I mean, because Nick Cage is ridiculous.
Yes,
and no offense to Bubba. I don't know his actual name.
The character name? Baby O.
Mykelti Williamson. No offense to him. He's not really putting in a whole lot of stellar work. This movie survives on the backs of John Malkovich, John Cusack, and Dave Chappelle, and Ving Rhames.
I will agree with all of those.
Like, Nick Cage is the ridiculous sauce.
Yeah.
Like, it's a ridiculous premise movie, ridiculous sauce of Nick Cage, but you still have the crispy, crunchy French fries that are John Malkovich and Dave Chappelle making your delicious cheese fry concoction. Or if you're Omari, I believe taking your taco salad and adding it to French fries. Was that not your high school lunch?
That was something I did a couple times. Yeah, that was a thing.
So yeah, Nick Cage is the taco salad and John Malkovich is the French fries. Is that metaphor?
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, it is about as ridiculous on top of like a solid base. So yeah, I agree with that. The performances. If we're talking about the performances, like everybody, I agree.
No, I was just thinking about you agreeing to my fries, taco salad analogy. Like, I actually was thinking the same thing.
Oh yes, I second that. Word for word. Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, they like hold the movie together.
Yes.
I feel like this was the appropriate time to mention it, because now at this point, basically, we have all of our main players with still to come in the next pickup. We still have Steve Buscemi added, and
Danny
MC
Trejo
Gainey, who plays Swamp Thing, the pilot, and I think he's fun. He's doing a good job. But other than that, we have all of our main players set. So I just wanted to like have a spotlight on the acting, despite the ridiculousness that is Nick Cage.
Yes, that is a good way to put that. And I also like Danny Trejo. He's cool in this movie too.
And a great poster. Like, I happen to be on the IMDb page right now, but anybody who might be listening to this right now, I would highly suggest popping over and Googling the poster. It's just a super solid, maybe a little 90s, but like it's a great poster. It makes you want to see the film.
Con Air. Oh yeah, especially once they had to do it the second they take over the plane, because eventually like criminals fucking take over the plane.
Right, and it doesn't come from the DEA agent's gun.
No.
Which is what you initially suspect. You're like, that's going to be the catalyst that ruins everything. And it's not. It's that Cyrus the Virus has orchestrated a very well calculated, well engineered, timed out plan involving himself, Ving Rhames, and Dave Chappelle's character. And it is successful.
Very much so.
Very, very quickly. I mean, there's a little bit of tussle. There's a little bit of moment, because I'm sure in the plan he's supposed to release everybody, and there's a break in between him releasing Ving and him releasing John Malkovich. But eventually they both get out, and it's almost instant that they take over the plane.
Yeah.
The poor co-pilot opens the door for 2 seconds, and it's just like the worst timing in the world. John Malkovich is right there and instantly gets the gun, shoots the co-pilot, and then from that moment on, it's Con Air.
Welcome to Con Air.
This is your captain speaking.
You just had to say it. He said the title. I think he says it a couple other times in the movie too. Something like, this is Con Air. Thank you, Con Air. Oh, like,
so at this point, our main character is stuck on the plane for 2 reasons. One, his best buddy, Baby-O, played by Bubba from Forrest Gump, is a diabetic, and he needs an insulin shot or he's going to die. And the tussle of taking over the plane destroyed the med kit that held his insulin. So yes. Nick Cage is going to stay on that plane till Baby-O dies or gets insulin, one way or the other. And then secondly, runs into a situation where he has to protect the only female guard on the plane, who is currently chained up to the fence right next to their seats. Yes. And clearly being threatened to be raped by multiple passengers, particularly Danny Trejo, who is featured in this film as Johnny 23.
Yeah, Johnny 23, because that's how many.
Is it Johnny?
I believe
I just
so,
said,
yeah.
I pulled that out of my. Yeah, Johnny 23, because
he's had 23 victims, at least that they know of
a very specific crime.
Yes, of the crime that was mentioned a second ago, the sexual assault.
Yes. To which John Malkovich tells him that he considers him somewhere in between. Oh my God! I wish I knew it by heart. I know the second part of it is the little white stuff that accumulates at the corner of your mouth when you're thirsty, and something else. Like, he considers him somewhere between, like, human excrement and the little white stuff that accumulates on the corner of your mouth when you're thirsty. Like, that's what he considers. Like, he's like, you're way lower. Like, I do cool crime in John Malkovich's character's opinion.
Yeah.
And you do shitty crime. So John Malkovich's character is Cyrus the Virus is kind of allowing Cameron, Nicolas Cage, to protect the security guard for now.
Yes. And because Cameron or Poe or whatever, he brings up like, hey, we need this, we probably need to keep the hostage alive and stuff. Also, not here right now because we got other that we need to be doing.
Right. Do you want another like dead body, bloody mess going on kind of thing? Yeah. There's a lot of reasons that he kind of convinces him, but it also means that he's now stuck on that plane because he's too good of a man to.
You can't leave a fallen man behind.
You can't leave her. She's got to understand.
She'll understand. Tell her I love her.
Also, John Cusack never. If we're skipping to that moment, John Cusack never says the thing that he was told. Like in the weirdest realm possible, she's like, if for some reason you happen to speak to my husband, please tell him this. And then John Cusack, in the weirdest of all coincidences, runs into this dude face to face, and they have a private moment to themselves, and he does not say, "Your wife said this." Says he met her, does not say what she asked, the information that she asked him to convey.
Damn. That is fucked up.
Yeah.
You had one job, John Cusack.
You had one job, John Cusack.
But yes, the plane, John Cusack's character starts to catch wind that something's going wrong, even though they were told nothing's going wrong. He's like, nah, that don't add up. And then they find the plans to hijack the thing in Cyrus's cell.
Right. Up until then, he keeps getting it brushed off as just like nervous energy.
Yeah.
He like you're just nervous. Like you know, it's gonna be fine. Like everything's fine. You're nervous. You're anxious.
Yeah.
You worry too much. But yeah, up until the moment that they find those plans, and then he immediately knows something bad's going on.
Yeah.
And then he tells the cops to not touch anything. They, of course, immediately touch them.
Immediately just, yup. So, and the guy's even like, dude, what are you doing? And the box even says, do not open.
I'm going to open this. You know I got to open this.
Don't touch nothing. I'm going to sit down. Wait, he said don't touch nothing. I'm going to grab this box. Dude, it says don't open it. I'm opening it.
Unbelievable.
And that's how they know for sure that some shit went down. But Cyrus is always like one step ahead, at least, of the normal cops and stuff. Your DEA agent and the military dude that's just like, I want to shoot people too. I'm just gonna go with DEA guy. You're crazy, John Cusack.
At this point, they are on the ground at Carson City, picking up the second round of passengers.
Okay.
Including the Colombian drug lord, we eventually learn kind of his family contracted Cyrus to do this so that the drug lord can go free. And so we meet him. He gets on the plane. We also meet Steve Buscemi, who has an incredible entrance.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, so this guy is the problem. Okay, it just comes out. Wait, it's Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, the moment they pull off his mask and it's just him with that dorky haircut and the button-up shirt, just like this, like a short sleeve button-up, like cream colored, like looking like the dirtiest, dorkiest dude ever. And yeah, that's the one that even the criminals inside of the plane are terrified of him. Like Ving Rhames, the baddest dude in this movie, is like shaking while he's trying to remove his restraints and stuff. But I mean, we're told what he did, and he's disgusting and horrible, and you should be terrified of him. Yeah. But in person, he doesn't look like he would like. You would think Ving Rhames would be like, all right, well, I could physically dominate you, and I could snap your neck with like 2 fingers in my thumb.
But no, he's like, oh god, this motherfucker. But yeah. So yeah,
so that would definitely, like, that entrance is always a standout moment for me. It's one of the things I think about when I think about Con Air. Let's see, and then at this point John, the law knows that the plane is hijacked. The prisoners know that the law knows that the plane is hijacked. They get off the ground in Carson City, and their plan is to get to this random remote airfield in the middle of the desert so that they can refuel. And it sounds like it seems like if the plan would have gone optimally, Cyrus was bailing on everybody and going with the Colombian drug lord in the jet. And I guess he just in that alternate universe scenario, all of the prisoners just get abandoned?
I think so.
Or maybe Swamp Thing is flying the prisoners in that plane.
See, at first I thought the drug lord dude, Sendocino or whatever his name is, I thought he had told them to, or that, we're all I have a plane waiting there to take all of us. But he kept it hidden away because he was just going to run and abandon all of them.
Right.
And so they were like, oh, shit, we don't know where this other plane is at. Because even when he lands, Cyrus is like, where's the fucking plane?
Right, there should be a giant plane here.
And he's like, I don't know, it'll be here soon. And then he tries to sneak off and go without them.
Right. So it should have been a much bigger plane.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, because when I watched it this round, I was like, "Oh, was Cyrus going to abandon them?" When he screams, "That's my plane!" But yeah, so they're trying to get to that small little air base, and now everybody involved knows what's up. They immediately search for the transponder, which they have removed while they were at Carson City. R.I.P. Dave Chappelle.
Rip Pinball.
Got too carried away trying to mac on a girl. Who can blame him? Who knows how long he's been in prison?
Yeah.
And she was pretty.
Yeah. That sounds like a goddamn play.
Oh, pinball.
Yeah. He had
a couple of nasty moments even after death.
Yeah.
We'll get to that down the road. But yeah, so they're searching for the transponder, and they've already moved it. So eventually a bunch of helicopters show up on a little family tour plane and surprise them. They think they're about ready to shoot down a massive commercial jet. Doesn't happen like that.
No, because that's what I'm talking about. What I'm saying, like, as far as the normal cops and stuff goes, Cyrus is always like a step ahead of them. Like, they're just gonna follow the transponder, so we moved it onto this thing, and now we can fly where we want. Yep. The other shit with the swapping the people out at the point and still being able to get on the plane to leave regardless, like he had
it all mapped out. Yeah, he was. If it wasn't for Cameron Poe, so we also, we don't have to mention every single detail, but Cameron kind of saves the day to start. Step one is slipping the audio recording device from the DEA agent onto one of the guards who's getting replaced as a prisoner, getting dropped off at Carson City.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's one first step there. And then, so now we're back in flight, and another standout moment would be when John Malkovich tells first he tells Ving Rhames, go figure out the landing gear. Ving Rhames goes and finds the door to get down to the landing gear and is like, fuck that.
You go.
Country boy.
Exactly. So they go down there and they find out what's wrong with the landing gear. As we said, Rip Pinball. It's going to be another standout moment for me. Something I think about when I think about Con Air is that body landing on that car with the message. Message.
Yeah. Nick Cage very quickly scribbles a message of that they're trying to go to the Lerner airfield.
Yeah. Just literally here we go, they're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Drops him out. So he's like, and he keeps convincing people in there, like Cyrus, like every time they suspect him, he just comes up with something and just like, yeah, I guess you're right. Except for,
he doesn't do a great job at it. It seems like Cyrus is kind of pissed at himself at the end of the day when it's like, of course, god damn it.
Of course, it's this guy. It's the one guy who seemed the most like he was betraying all of us. Yeah. So yeah, the body falls on the car.
Right, and of course he's a dude who's like, well, every time I get my car cleaned, the bird shit, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
And then 10 seconds later, boom.
And then like 5 other like cars just crash into
Oh my
him.
god. Yeah, no. Jen and I turned to each other, we were like, why would it cause that level of a pileup? Like, why were all 4 intersections trying to move forward? What? That's not how intersections work.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yes, that cracked me up just to, like, obviously it was like damn to falling, but just that's what I remember that being a trope like in the 90s of like just the massive pile up in those things.
Right.
Just, like you gotta have like 3 or 4 crashes
Yeah.
if you're gonna have one. So
And then the sheriff eventually calls John Cusack, and you know the whole time, the second he figured out he had to make that phone call, the whole time he was like, oh man, I can't wait. So why you calling me about it? Well, it's got your name written all over it. Do. Oh my goodness.
That was the corniest thing, and you could see it coming from a mile away. To just like, well, it's got your name written all over it. But,
How does at that point, how does Nick Cage know Larkin by name?
that's what I'm trying to figure out, because
I've seen this movie several times, and I'm not sure.
Because I don't think the DEA agent that was on there mentioned Larkin at all.
I mean, he died pretty quickly.
Yeah. So I have no idea.
But yeah, he writes like, blah blah blah, State Marshal Larkin or U.S.
Yeah.
Marshal Larkin. We're going to Lerner Airport or whatever. So he gives them the sign that he's coming there, and they land. I can't think of any more standout moments in between.
No.
Because then they get to the little desert town, and they're in the little desert town for a minute.
I think shortly on the way, one of the dudes finds out about main character. Finds
Right.
out about main character doing his thing.
He finds his parole paperwork in his personal effects box.
And we get who put the bunny back in the box?
Why didn't you put the bunny back in the box?
Put the bunny in the box. Like
Put the bunny in the box.
The performance, just the way he says some of these lines. I'm just like, what the?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Jumping back way early into the film, the moment when he exclaims to Baby-O about the fact that he's getting out, he's going to be free, and he's going to get to see his wife and daughter. Like, he goes from, I don't know, it's the weirdest take in the world. He goes from 0 to 100 of just like, he like shakes himself. It's so weird. He's the weirdest. Like I said, he came with that accent on deck, ready. He's like, I'm gonna talk like I can't do it justice.
Neither can I. But that's how I'm gonna talk this whole movie. I'm talking.
So
like this.
they land terribly. There is no second plane. So now the plan is dig out this plane, refuel it, and we'll use it.
Right.
Meanwhile, Poe's mission is to find insulin somewhere in this random little airfield town, or needle. He has insulin on the plane, but they have no good syringes.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, so he just needs to find a syringe somewhere in this fucking this little airfield thing. And that's his little mission. And at that point, we're running into John Cusack, who gets there just in the nick of time, steals asshole's Corvette his convertible,
Ass kicker as the license plate.
Yeah, drives all the way there and then hides. Because, I mean, what's he going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh, no, man.
He's really just, I mean, what is his purpose serves nothing at first. And then he kind of justifies his presence there near the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first he's literally just hiding in a barn. Nick Cage comes across the Colombian drug lords who are hiding out in the tiny little jet that we mentioned, takes out 2 of them. One of them stays hidden in the plane. Can't find any syringes anywhere. Runs into an old man. Don't worry, old timer. I ain't gonna hurt you.
Yes, old timer. oh God, there was some quote he had.
And then like a bunch of stuff starts going to shit. I mean, and they see the cops running, or they see the cops coming from assumably 100 miles away. I don't know. They see them coming, and then 20 minutes later they arrive.
Yeah, and they're like, "How long are they gonna be here?" Yeah, we got about like 10 to 20 minutes. Like, what? You see them that far out?
Yeah, they look like they're about 2 football. Looks like they're gonna be here in about 55 seconds. At this point, Nick Cage shows up at the plane in the nick of time to save female guard from Danny Trejo, finally. And we get the great line of,
like they
don't treat women like that.
Oh. And Nick Cage.
He can't give Baby O the insulin in time to get him up and moving and out of the plane before they are pulling off.
All right.
He also tries, and I mean, it's a genius move on his part while he's running into the plane, tries to anchor it to this big concrete pillar. It slows them down for a second, but they get out of it.
Then the hook just conveniently bounces and grabs the asshole's car. I'm like, all right, that's very convenient. Just
did so well up until then. Like, he made sure he parked it and hid it in that little tiny shack, and he tried, man. Like, he stole his car and drove it 100 miles away, but like. He tried to take care of it. That's freak of nature. That's God right there.
Car gets destroyed. That's just a cool shot, though, of the plane flying, the car dangling in the air. That's just a cool shot. At first, I thought they were gonna do some wacky fucking action scene involving that car. Like, all right, hop into the car, some shit. God, it looks.
And then, probably, I would declare my third standout moment of. I mean, and there's a lot of things obviously that I remember and think about from this movie, but another one of the big major ones that I will make sure to highlight as a standout moment is John Malkovich rereading the my birthday is on July 14th. My Disney is coming home on July 14th.
Yeah. Also, him with the dude when he confronts dude about betraying him. He's like, and he tries to talk to him. He's like, sayonara. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, Cyrus discovers that he's got a rat in the plane. I mean, he kind of already knows it because so much shit keeps backfiring on him. Even though, like we talked about, he is supposed to be one step ahead.
Yes.
According to his plan, this shit shouldn't be happening, and yet shit keeps happening. And then the plane getting tied up is a final straw of like, all right, that could only be one of you fuckers. Like, come on. So he discovers it. Baby-O fucking takes the fall. And with almost zero hesitation, Cyrus shoots him right in the gut.
And then he starts with the man, which means he knew it wasn't him anyway. He's like, you've been damn near dying this whole time. I was faking.
Clever, isn't it?
No. This is clever. My name is my birthday is July 14th, and my day is coming out. Oh, like, damn.
And then we get the great line, because chaos ensues at that moment. There's crazy shit going on. And they're like Baby-O thinks he's dead. And he tells Poe that he's something about how he's surprised he thought he'd see God at this moment, and there's no God. And Nick Cage says,
does God even exist? I'm gonna go prove to you that God exists.
Yeah. What you doing? I'm gonna go prove to you that God exists. And then he just turns on like a super adrenaline mode or whatever, and just literally stomps up to the front of the plane.
He tanks a
walks
shot
through
to the arm.
a bullet. Yeah. Yeah, just like walk. We even get a close up of the guy who fired it, giving a face straight to camera of like, oh my God, he just took that shot. Immediately seizes control of the captain's chair and locks Cyrus in the back of the plane. So we have that going on, and he's trying to communicate with Cusack and with the DEA agent, trying to get the plane not shot down. Yeah. Probably in hindsight should have done it. Because fuck Cameron Poe. Probably killed a bunch of people in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about this Army Ranger.
The right thing to do would have been shoot down the plane. But at that point...
I mean, that's like a philosophical question there.
Oh, yeah. But it's kind of the right thing to do.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, depending on which philosophy Some philosophers I know would argue that the most moral thing to do would be to not intervene at all and just allow the outcome to be, which would probably be them getting shot down. Like from like John Cusack's point of view, who's fighting to get the plane not shot down.
Gotcha.
Like there would be philosophers that would argue that he is morally wrong for even involving himself in the scenario and like intervening with the fates of not even like a mystical fate, but just like
I got you
predetermined. They're at the landing process at this point.
Yeah.
Nick Cage has seized control of the plane. He is convinced Swamp Thing really has no choice. They've already shot at the plane enough to where it's descending, and they're about ready to land it directly onto the Las Vegas Strip. And the DEA agent even says he has a line of like the human casualties will be catastrophic.
We should have shot the plane down. Casualties would be catastrophic. It's like, damn.
And then you have another line where you hear John Cusack calling over the radio, I need anybody who knows CPR to get to the Las Vegas Strip right now. That is a tragedy that just occurred in the end of that film.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nick Cage is just like,
how can I live?
All right. So I have a story. a little rabbit hole I fell down towards the end of this film, because I wanted to know, is like that we basically heard the entire song there, and it also wasn't the LeAnn Rimes version of that song, which is the song that I am familiar with from that era. And so I was like, was this like a featured? So I looked it up. Really weird random drama with this song that I'm going to run through you real quick.
All right.
Almost simultaneously, Ryder writes a song called How Do I Live?
Okay.
Almost simultaneously, it gets grabbed by a music label producing an up-and-coming musical artist named LeAnn Rimes, and they're planning to put that on her first album. And it also gets purchased by a movie studio that is making a little film called Con Air. Con Air gets an early release of the LeAnn Rimes version and decides it's like a little too slow, I think. And so they don't want to use her version of it, and they already have like kind of like the rights level, like the writer's rights level, to where like they can reproduce the song. So they go and they get another country music artist named Trisha Yearwood to do the version of the song that we heard in these movies, or in this movie. So simultaneously, within 2 months of each other, this movie comes out and releases on their official soundtrack the Trisha Yearwood How Do I Live, as featured on Con Air. That's a single that is skyrocketing up the Billboard charts. And then not like 2 weeks later, LeAnn Rimes comes out and drops her very first single out into the world, and it's How Do I Live, and it starts rocketing up the pop charts. And they live on the pop charts together, the same exact song. It's literally, I swear to God, it's almost the exact same song, except one is a little bit slower than the other. And then
I didn't realize it was a different version of the song. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
fast forward like 6 months later, at the Grammys that year, both songs are nominated for Song of the Year. They asked LeAnn Rimes to perform at the Grammys, and she sings How Do I Live at the Grammys. Trisha Yearwood wins the Grammy for Best Song for How Do I Live. Such a weird story of that song and in its existence, and the role that this film played in it. So yeah, she won the Grammy for that song.
So that's crazy that both versions were out at the same time.
Yeah. Then they both got nominated in the same categories, multiple categories, against each other, like Country Song of the Year, Song of the Year, all that shit. And then the winner of it was the one that was only produced for a movie soundtrack. It's not even on anybody's actual album. It's on a movie soundtrack.
Did nobody, like, at that time look at them and go,
I blame the writer. That's what I immediately said to Jen.
Picture?
Jen's recounting all of these details to me as she's discovering them, because we both were curious, and she started the like Googling first, you know, and so she's like recounting me facts as she's reading them, and my immediate thought is like, I'm looking at this writer, like this writer double dipped.
Yeah.
Nobody. This sounds shady as fuck.
Definitely.
Like, you didn't tell. Did you tell either party of like, hey, by the way, there's this movie about ready to be made, and they're going to be using the song too.
I just mean the people like voting for these awards and stuff. Nobody on these committees did they're the same picture.
Yeah.
Like, why are they both running in this category?
And I'm not that familiar with Trisha Yearwood, but I wouldn't surprised if they're both also, they're just both little blonde white girls. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I know LeAnn Rimes. I'm not familiar with the image of Trisha Yearwood, but most country music female singers are just little blonde white girls.
But yeah, it was hilarious. So that's why they played that song twice, because they came back to it like in the end. They played it early, then they played it again at the end. But if they had thought they had their exclusive rights to have this song, why not make it like the theme song?
Yeah, it is definitely featured and prominent.
But yeah, eventually the plane crashes, and then you think it's over, but no. We gotta have a final, like, car chase with a fire truck and then on the motorcycles. And I'm just like, man, this is just
the bunny. And then they traveled miles, Omari. They traveled miles away from that plane crash. They were on motorcycles chasing the fire truck. Then they were trying to get on the fire truck. And then they rode the fire truck. They traveled miles. And then the second this dude gets up off the ground, he just sees a fucking stuffed bunny rabbit on the side of the road. What is that shit?
I got you a gift. Oh my god. That is great. Then just the fucking DEA agent and the dude at the end just, just suddenly kind of buddy talk. Sorry about your car. It was anyway.
He turned quick.
Yeah.
He was suddenly really cool with everything very quickly.
I'm like, were you just like, you know what? I've been wrong all day. Maybe it is me. Maybe I am the jackass here. Let me just.
So I think this is this has been our first good one in a little bit for the question of like what role jumps out at you in this. There's a plethora of characters. Would you want to go for more of the Dave Chappelle? Would you want to go? I feel like I could see you in a Dave Chappelle.
I definitely like the Dave Chappelle role.
I think big role. You could go for a John Malkovich. I think I could see you trying that.
Malkovich.
I could even see you going Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, which we didn't talk that much about him, but yeah. Well,
right, yeah, like we didn't talk about his scene with the little, because it's all creepy and fucking
very
weird.
Creepy. He's got the whole world in his hands is a very unintentionally creepy song.
Yeah.
It's always used for like horror. And
yeah, the unsung line of he's got the whole world in his hands is, and he can close it into a fist at any moment. Like, that is the unsung line of he has the whole world in his hands. That's why that song is so fucking creepy. Like, yeah, that's the visual that I always see. Galactus kind of thing. I'm just like...
But yeah, so yeah, Buscemi's character. Like I was thinking Dave Chappelle, like with the pinball. Like I like the character. Fucking Cyrus would be fun. There's a lot of fun characters to play in this movie.
Yeah.
Hell, even if I know some of the characters, because of the way the lines are and stuff, it seems because of the dialogue, it seems like some of the characters are kind of gotta be a specific race, but you can also just
some of them are race
script.
Dependent, but some of them are.
You can always edit the script when you do that anyway. But you know what I'm saying. So, without regard to any of that, hell, I would be fine doing Nick Cage's character.
Yeah.
Be fun
you ready to
do.
get buff?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we already saw it, right?
Yeah, check this.
You got to do it before you reveal your arm. Because a bicep doesn't just suddenly go boink.
When you flex it.
Yeah. I would be interested in the John Malkovich part or the Steve Buscemi part, probably.
Yeah, but either way, it'd be a fun movie to be part of, and the mindless action and all that stuff. So I guess when it comes down to like the final thoughts or whatever, it's a fun movie. Like you said, it's not a good movie per se, but I don't necessarily need that. I like the fun movies, and that's exactly what this was. It is as much a product of its time as it can be, and if for the better or worse, and even when it's worse, it's better because, oh man, that sure was 90s action.
yeah, for sure. I agree with that sentiment. This is a guilty pleasure meal. Like this is a dirty fast food meal that you eat in your car and you don't tell anybody about. Like this is this kind of movie. It's a great ridiculous watch experience, and then on top of that, I think John Malkovich is putting in a very good performance, and so yeah, this is a movie I've always enjoyed.
Yes, I agree with that. Like, this is definitely well worth watching. Kind of mad I hadn't seen it before. Like you said, there was a void, a black
Still
hole.
Below Bloodsport? Ooh. Longest hesitation we've ever had of Mark.
Sorry. And because they're different types of they're both like cliche actions, but one's like explodey action and one's like the combat action. So that's why I'm like, I'd actually probably say Con Air over Bloodsport because I like explosions. However,
and you don't have anybody in Bloodsport putting in the John Malkovich isn't in Bloodsport.
Also true.
You know, you got a Ving Rhames character, you got a Dave Chappelle character, but you don't. There's nobody there putting in a fucking Shakespeare level villain turn.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'll say that. Indeed.
Cool.
So that wraps it up. Guess what? We enjoyed the movie. All right, and so I guess before we start closing this, I gotta say what we're watching next week, right? That's generally how this goes.
Yeah, I mean either now or later.
Either now or they just find out. No.
Oh, I meant after you said your bullshit.
Oh. Well,
not that it's bullshit.
It is.
It's gold.
But yes, I'm gonna go Bamboozled.
Bamboozled.
Slightly more serious tone, if I remember correctly. This a movie with Damon Wayans. Check it out. But yeah,
Bamboozled. I'm pumped.
Bamboozled. We're gonna see that next week. And yes, if you want to.
Hey, nothing can be worse than The Greatest Showman.
Oh, I agree. I don't believe it's worse than The Greatest Showman. That said, if you want to see more of us, obviously we have more of the show on this channel. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube on the Whatever We Want podcast. That's Whatever We Want. It's every week, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can also find me elsewhere on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi.
Come on in. Stop on by.
Thank you very much. And that's pretty much what I've got to say. You got anything to say to the people, Bill?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. You have a good one. Adiosness.
Adiosness.